I know you're gonna dig this.
This is Rhine McLin, host of the Funk Music Hall of Fame and Exhibition Center's award-winning show, Funk Chronicles, recorded live here at DATV Studios in Dayton, Ohio. And now, Skyping all the way from Durham, North Carolina, Aaron Mills, bassist for the funk group Cameo. Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Dayton. Hello, Ryan. Hello, music lovers. Hello, the Funk Hall of Fame.
This is so exciting to be able to talk to you. We want to start off talking about your beginnings. And I have read information that says that your father was a jazz saxophonist, and he even had played a little bit with Lionel Hamilton. So tell me about your beginning life leading up to you getting involved in music.
All right. My father, Elvin Mills, that's what his name was, Elvin. He played sax with Lionel Hampton. He was also a vocalist. But also my mother played organ and piano in the church. And all of my aunties and uncles, they played instruments. All of my cousins, they played instruments. And I had a brother whose name was Sonny. He played guitar. So we formed a family band. And actually, I was about 7 years old when we formed this band. And the name of the band was the Antiques. And I wanted to play guitar, actually. But my brother, by him being older and bigger than I, he said, well, look, you're going to play bass. And I was like, oh, God, bass guitar? I don't like bass. But anyway, I fell in love with it. And I didn't really have a bass, so I took a guitar and just took off two of the strings, and I played bass on the guitar. And later on, my father bought me a real bass, and I fell in love with the instrument. And ever since then, I've been playing bass since the age of 7 years old.
So your brother saw something in you that you hadn't seen already when he turned you on to the bass.
Yes, because guitar was a more dominant instrument, you know, and you never heard about bass players or people playing bass. At least I didn't know anybody at that time, but surely he saw something in me, my brother, bless his soul. And I started playing bass, and all of my cousins, they said, yeah, Aaron, that's your instrument. You stay in the back. You bass. But I love the instrument. And I've been playing bass, gosh, for a long period of time. And I'm blessed to have this instrument in my soul.
So as we move forward, you know, who did you professionally, your first professional tour was with whom?
The first artist that I backed up back in the days, we used to, artists would come to Asheville and sing, and it was Chuck Jackson. And if you all, some of the listeners, people don't know him, he did Stand By Me, I Don't Wanna Cry, but he was a vocalist. And my godfather, Clifford Cotton, was the band director for him. Now, those guys were much older than I was, and I was probably about at the age of, I'm being honest, I think I was about 14 years old. And they came by my house one day and asked my father if I could go on the road and with Chuck Jackson. And of course he said, yes, as long as you take care of him, take care of the kid, bring him back home, make sure he goes to school, is fine. So Chuck Jackson was my first professional artist that I backed up. And then I backed up Aaron Parker, who wrote this song called Barefoot, Joe Tech. I think I backed up Sam and Dave. Back in the days, some artists, they didn't travel with a band. When they would come to town, they would hire musicians. So I was that kind of a guy people would hire to play bass. And if that answers your question. But,
well, it really does. And then, you know, I noticed that you went to North Carolina Central University.
Yes, yes.
And tell me about that experience musically there.
Oh, it was great. It was great. The way I got in college, it was a blessing. I had two friends. One of my mentors, his name is Bunny Clyde. He's a saxophonist where he plays all instruments. And another friend of mine, Norris William Duckett, we called him Country. He played guitar. And Bunny Clyde, this guy, he took us, me and Norris Duckett, and he took us up under his wings. Now, Bunny Clyde had been out with Johnny Taylor and various other artists, the Dramatics. And so we woodshed for 2 years on his back porch. I mean, literally every day, 8 hours a day, practicing scales, just scales. And then the rest of the day, we did some exercise, played basketball, and then we would come back around 9 o'clock and we would write songs. So I had another homeboy that was teaching at North Carolina Central. And he called us up and says, look, Donald Byrd has started a jazz program at Central University. Now, if you don't know about Donald Byrd, let me tell you about him. He was a trumpet player, a great jazz musician. He formed the Blackbirds. He also had a jazz program at Howard University. So he came to North Carolina Central University and started a jazz program. And by us writing songs, and we sent them to Stanley Beard, who was our other homeboy, see the connection here, and he gave it to Donald Byrd, and Byrd said, look, I like these guys. Bring them to Durham, North Carolina. And so I moved up to Durham, me and my two partners, and we enrolled in North Carolina Central into the jazz program. And Donald Byrd produced a group that we formed on campus called New Central Connection. And that gave us our first, really like, our first opportunity to record. And we were on United Artists label, and from there, it took off. And so North Carolina Central is a great school for musicians. There have been other musicians that have come out of Central. To name one is Leon Pendarvis, who's a great arranger. He's arranged for Roberta Flack, the Temptations, other artists, big name artists. But it's a lot of great musicians out of North Carolina Central University.
So coming out of North Carolina Central University, you toured with the colleges, New Central Connection, Unlimited, and Larry Blackmon. Tell me a little bit about Larry Blackmon.
Okay, let me tell you how I met Larry Blackmon, who's my friend, always will be my friend. So my group, New Central Connection, and Cameo, we were on the show together. And actually Cameo, they played right before my group, and they blew the monitors out. We were playing the North Carolina festival, and so we couldn't go on. They held up the show. But anyway, so I met Larry, and we traded numbers. And this is before cell phones and all that kind of stuff, right? This is back like 1970, 78. And so we would talk, you know, occasionally. You know, he'd call me or I would call him. But one particular Sunday, I was coming in from church, and my phone was ringing in the house, and I was trying to get the key in the door to unlock the door, and I made it to the phone. It was Larry Blackman on the other end when I answered the phone, and he says, "Aaron, I need a bass player." And I was like, "Okay, what's up?" He said, "Well, can you come to New York?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll come to New York," but I hated to leave my own group, but things weren't going that great with my band. So, and as you know, when musicians get frustrated, we seek other avenues quickly. So I told Larry, I said, "Well, yeah, I'll come to New York." That was on a Sunday evening. That Monday morning, he flew me to New York. That Tuesday we rehearsed. That Wednesday we played a concert, and it was in Ohio, in Ohio somewhere, and that was in 1978. And I enjoyed working with Larry. Larry was a great drummer, funk drummer, impeccable timing. I mean, like a click track was built in his soul, and it's still there. So Cameo gave me the opportunity to like grow, and beautiful guys in the band, and Larry is a great leader. We would practice, like when we weren't on the road, we would be practicing every night, and sometimes I would think, why are we practicing? We got the show down, but Larry likes to practice. So we would practice.
You know, Aaron, I just want to let you know that quick turnaround was in the city of Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
All right. I just want to put that in there, that it was Cleveland, Ohio, that you could, you knew it was Ohio, but I wanted to make sure that you got your original start with that, with Larry Blackman and Cameo, in that 24-hour turnaround was in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, and you are absolutely correct. It was Cleveland. Yes. Is that what the Circle Star or something?
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Okay.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland.
All right. But that's how I got in Cameo, and gosh, it's been great. It's been really great. And met a lot of people through Cameo, gained a lot of experience, have toured the world with Cameo, and looking forward to doing more.
Well, let me ask you this. Name three places that you played that have been with Cameo that were highlights in your life.
I think the first one that comes to mind is Cameo. We did, you know, they used to have these Budweiser festivals, and it was a festival that was given in New York at Giant Stadium. Now this place was sold out, completely sold out, and Cameo, I think we may have had a Secret Omen album out then, either Cameos is one or the other, but that gig was a big gig. And the next place, it was in Europe, and I fell off the stage. I'm like a 10-foot stage with bass. I tripped over the monitors and fell head first. Knocked my bass all out of tune. I was taking the solo, and they didn't have the monitors taped off so you could see them. You know, when the lights hit you, you can't see anything. But anyway, I tumbled over the monitors, and I'm hoping that the people are going to cushion my fall, and they just parted like the Red Sea. And I hit that ground, and I had dirt all over my hair. The bass was knocked out of tune, and everybody was laughing.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
So how did you recover on that? Did you dust the dirt out your hair, pick up your guitar, tune it up, and get back in the game?
I had to get back in the game, but I recovered from that. And I tell you, it took me about 2 or 3 weeks before I would go out to the edge of the stage again. You know, but I recovered. And the next highlight.
Where was that in Europe? Where was that in Europe?
It was in London. Yeah, it was in London. Some theater, some place we were playing over there, but it was people who laughed at me. I was embarrassed, but I recovered.
But you know, the good news is that we didn't have cell phones with pictures and things like that.
Right. That was if we had had cell phones then, it would have been a heck of a photo.
Yes.
I would have been well known way back then. But that was hilarious. So everybody, I mean, the audience laughed and all the band members laughed. So I was like embarrassed, but I recovered. And I think the last number 3 on my list of the most important events that I played is being in the studio, Cameo in the studio, and Miles Davis walks in to record on a Cameo record. And everybody knew that Miles was great. Just ask Marcus Miller and several other people, you know, Herbie Hancock. But Miles comes in the studio. And he's so cool. And one of the guys in Cameo says, "Hi, hello, Mr. Miles." Miles says, "You don't call me Mr. Miles. I ain't no Mr. Miles. I'm Miles." And that was so hip to me because he was so cool, such an innovator. Miles, there'll never be another Miles Davis. Excuse me. So that's you know, those moments I will never forget. And God has been good to me, and the audience and the fans. I appreciate you. I love you, because it's not easy doing what musicians do. And when somebody appreciates you and acknowledges your talent, it means a lot. That means more than anything. Beyond money, all of that. For me, it does. You know. What can I say?
Tell me a little bit about Sylvia Robinson.
Oh, Sylvia Robinson.
Yes.
Very nice lady. I signed to Sugar Hill Records. That was back in like 84, 85. I had a deal. First, I was signed to CBS, myself and T.C. Campbell and Gerald Bright, who were in Cameo. We ventured out on our own, and we did an album entitled MCB. Great album. And when that album was released, gosh, Michael Jackson released his album, Thriller. So naturally, we got put on the back burner, you know what I mean? And so that album didn't go. And then later on, I wiggled out of that deal, and I went to Sugar Hill Records, where I met Melly Mel and Sylvia Robinson, Joey Robinson. And Sylvia Robinson was a very kind lady to me. That's all I can really tell you about her. I was only probably in her presence about 5 or 6 times, but I was only there maybe like a year and a half. So, and later on, I came back to Cameo.
So Cameo is kind of like your home base, isn't it?
Oh, that's home. That's family.
That's family.
Yeah. Regardless of anything, that's family.
Now, because, you know, one of the popular songs for Cameo is Word Up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, that was very popular, and you were there for that, correct?
Correct. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And I mean, and whenever I say that, whenever I say Word Up, I can still visualize Larry Blackmon in the video.
Oh.
I don't know why, but I can. It was such an impression. You know, and just, you know, one of the things I want to say, Aaron, is that when, you know, what's old is new and what's new is old, and
Right.
you look at the hairstyles and the dress that you had back there in the Cameo heyday, and all of that is coming back now.
Yes, it is. It's history repeats itself, as we all know that. Once you get a little older, you realize that nothing's new, so to speak. But,
so tell me about the song Candy.
Candy, one of the greatest songs Cameo ever recorded. Actually, Larry and Tommy wrote that song, and you know, when you record, sometimes you know when you got one. But Candy, to me, in my opinion, was a sleeper. You know, it just came. Everybody knew Word Up, but when Candy came, when they started playing Candy, it just gradually just took off. And it's still being played a lot today, but it's a great song. Larry, as I said, Larry and Tommy, they did Candy. They wrote that, and I had the opportunity. Actually, Larry may have laid that bass track first, but I laid it. I came back over him and recorded it. And it's a great song. Gosh, very simple song. That's Candy.
Now that's Candy, and you know, I was just been admiring your guitar. And tell me a little history about your guitar, and especially her name and why.
Okay, well, this bass is it's a Tragan bass. Now Tragan is this guy by the name of Tony Tragan. He makes basses, but he's not one of those popular guys. And I had him to make this bass. It's a 4-string. Now people say, well, Aaron, why you don't play 5-string bass? Well, I play 5-string bass. I can play any string bass. It can be a bass tub with a string on it. Believe me. But this bass is a special bass made for me. Now it has the LED lights on it, thanks to Charlie Singleton. And this bass is silver, and it has my name on it. And you won't find this in the store. You will not find this bass in the store. So if you want a good bass, Google Tragan basses. They're great instruments. They hit you for about maybe $1,200. It's not a very expensive bass. I believe you can have the most expensive bass, but if it's not in your soul, you're just wasting money. I can take a silver tone and make it sound good, baby.
I trust you on that, Aaron. And what's her name? And what's her name?
This bass here is named Ruth, R-U-T-H, and it's named after my mother. I miss my mom, and she the one that brought me in this world and gave me her spirit. And I love this bass, and I named it after her. And this bass, when I play, I always think of my mom. I truly do. And I know to do my very best when I touch this bass. I truly, when I'm playing this bass, I am the best in the world. I don't care about anybody else. And I know there are players better than me. But when I'm actually playing this bass, get out the way.
Now, you were in around 2000, you were in Japan. How was that experience in Japan?
Oh, Japan is wonderful. You know, they love black music their R&B music. They love black entertainers. Japan is great. It's just as well as Europe, all over Europe, on the eastern part of the world. They love black entertainers. But Japan is great. It really is. I would love to go back. That's all I can say about Japan. I mean, I don't speak Japanese, but I do have some stories, a short story I would like to tell you about being in Japan. And that story, we just lost this drummer, John Blackwell, who got his start with Cameo. John ended up playing for Prince, John Blackwell. And so one night we had played a concert, and it was early in the morning, and I woke up and I said, well, let me call John, because John has a lot of friends in Japan, and he spoke Japanese fluent. So I called John up. I said, well, John, I want to get something to eat. He said, well, okay, let's walk. I think we were in Osaka or someplace like that. And we walked maybe for a mile, and we found this little bitty restaurant. And we sat down to look at the menu, and which I couldn't read Japanese nor speak it, but I saw the word like crab meat. So I'm saying, well, I'll order that, you know, keep it simple. But it had some other words beside it. Anyway, to make the story short, I ordered this food, and it comes out in a great big bowl with this crab leg sticking up out of it. And as I put my spoon in the bowl, there was some meat in it. And I said, oh God, I got some meat too. I'm thinking it's like beef. But guess what? It was dog.
Oh my, wow.
It was dog, truly. So I love Japan, and I love sushi, but not dog, nor cat. It's not for the funk man.
I heard that. Tell me, who replaced the drummer after he passed?
Oh, John, we ended up getting Jonathan Moffett, who had been toured with Cameo prior to John Blackwell being in Cameo, but Jonathan Moffett, Sugarfoot, who played with Michael Jackson, you name it, Billy, what's his name? The London guy.
Billy Ocean.
But
Billy Ocean.
Sugarfoot
Billy Ocean?
No, I'm embarrassed I can't call his name.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving.
It'll come back to you.
It'll come back.
It'll come back.
I used to be.
Yeah.
Jonathan Moffett, Sugarfoot, awesome drummer also. A lot of great musicians have come through Cameo.
You know, that's what I'm listening to. And as you talk and we hear about all these phenomenal, including yourself, of course, phenomenal musicians that have, well, you're kind of like physicians because music does cure people's souls. So, but anyway, I'm going to move it to musicians and say that you are such a powerful force upon the world just through your music. So I'm going to ask you about the song So Fresh, So Clean. I like that name. So Fresh, So Clean.
Yes. The Outcast.
And you're going to play a little bit of it for me? So fresh, so clean.
Okay. You want to put me on the spot, huh?
Well, you know, when we had pre-conversation, I told you that I would kind of ask you some things to do for me. So fresh, so clean.
So I went something like that.
Something like that. Okay. Well, tell me about the album Stankonia. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Stankonia.
Oh, Stankonia. Okay.
Stankonia. Oh, Stank.
got it. Okay. Maybe I was trying to clean it up a little bit. Go ahead.
But anyway, the Outcasts. Now this is great. Show you how. This will tell you how being in the right place at the right time, how that really comes into view. You know, we all want to make it in the world, but you know, sometimes you can have the tools and all of that, but you got to be in the right place at the right time. And that's all of the good Lord's work. The gods of music, the God that we worship. See, I'm a strong believer in that. So check this out now. Cameo, we had come from Japan. Just flew into Atlanta. I took a hotel room just to rest up. I was so beat and tired. And I'm asleep, and it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. Somebody's banging on my door. I wake up, and it's one of the guys that work in Cameo. His name is, we call him Shy Boy. He says, Aaron, he's an engineer, by the way. He says, Aaron, I got a session for you. And I was like, a session at 4 o'clock in the morning? I just got in from Japan. Yeah, man, it's with the Outcasts, come on. So I gets up, I go to the studio, and I meet Andre 3000 and Big Boy. And they put up the track, So Fresh, So Clean. I said, can you cut it? I said, can I cut it? Play this track, spin the track. So I did that song. And then they put up the other song, Sorry, Miss Jackson. Great, great song. He says, man, I want you to just do you on it. And I put that funk on it. I put that funk up on that track, Sorry, Miss Jackson. And it was great. Naturally, everybody knows the Outcasts. And then later on, I did Hey Ya. I did Prototype for the Outcasts. And a couple of more songs, but you know, that's what being in the right place at the right time does for a musician's career. That sustained me as a bassist, and it gave me the opportunity to play with some rappers, you know, and those records were huge, huge, and I'm still connected to those guys. And I imagine one day they'll call me back and I'll be ready to go. And so that's how that came about. And I enjoyed every moment of it. Every moment of it. Great guys.
Tell me about Bobby Hinton's Liquor House Roots.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Liquor House Roots. Bobby Hinton. Let me tell you about Bobby Hinton. He's a friend of mine. He's a blues singer, and when I was here and came back, I used to stay in Chicago, but I moved back to Durham, North Carolina, and then I met Bobby Hinton. And Bobby says to me, Aaron Mills, can you produce my record?
Okay.
And I says, sure, I'd love to. So it wasn't no plush studio. Bobby had a little studio in his garage with one of those Elise's recording machines, and we started working on Bobby's record, and he named it Liquor House Roots. Well, now here in North Carolina, you know, you might not find a bar to go have a drink, but you go to somebody's house in the basement and liquor house, and then you can have your drink, whatever kind of drink you want. And so we went out one night and had drinks. And Bobby says, well, I'm going to name my record Liquor House Roots. I said, well, Bobby, that's good. Let's have another drink. But it's a great album. It didn't do that well, but for Bobby was pleased. I was pleased with it. And we had fun doing that record. We really did. My son, AJ Mills, he engineered that record, so I got to pay homage to my son. He did an excellent job on that. But Bobby is a great friend of mine, and God bless him. God bless him. He's a good man.
You know, I see that you did in 2016, you did a residency at the Westgate Hotel in Las Vegas. And, you know, coming from Durham, North Carolina to Las Vegas, Nevada, that's a whole different change. So tell me about that experience and doing that year's residency there. And then I would like for you after that to just play me a medley of songs that you enjoyed playing.
All right. Well, Cameo, Larry, my friend, Blackman, he says, Aaron, I can hook up a residency in Vegas. We can play at the Westgate. And would you like to do it? I said, yeah, man, sure. I'd love to do that, you know. And so, we got the band together, Charlie Singleton, Tommy Jenkins, Jonathan Moffett, Anthony Lockett, Jeff Nelson, Kevin Kendricks. Who else was, well, the whole Cameo band. Willie Morrison, and we did Vegas for a year. It was great. I loved it. I wish I could do it again. I want to do it again. Just the fact of, you know, you set up in a venue and you're there every night. At least we were playing like 4 nights a week, and you know, you got a different crowd every night. People from all over the world come to Vegas, as we all know. And it was great. I mean, and you know, after you do something like for 2 months, some of the guys, they were like, wow, man, I need to get out of this place. And I'm like, oh, no, let's rock and roll right here, baby. It was great. I mean, you know, because I grew up, I have had gigs like that before where you know, you play in a hotel for like 6 months. Before I made it big, made it on the big scene, I've done gigs like that. And you know, it just builds up your endurance, and you get the opportunity, you get a chance to perfect your craft. You know, you get a chance to work every night, you know, and you learn what to do and what not to do, you know. And so it just brought back a lot of memories for me. And plus the band became tighter, you know, playing 4 nights a week. And it was just a blessing. You know, it was great. And I'm looking forward to doing something like that again. And it's all in the package, you know, in the package of music. Being a musician, you want to work. Sometimes you want to work and you're not working. So when you got an opportunity to work, you work, and you work it to the bone. That's right.
That's right. So, yeah, play me a medley, and then when we'll come back from your medley, I want to talk about how important do you see the Funk Music Hall of Fame, and what advice would you give to people who are interested in the music industry, and some of the lessons that you've learned that you would do differently?
All right. This song here is a winner. Cameo. Is that the venom? I don't know words. I like it. I know you know that.
Oh, yes.
Back and forth. I like little blues.
We going out tonight?
We're going out tonight.
We going out tonight.
We're going out. We're going out tonight. And music will be proud. I don't mind telling you, you look good. You look so good, so good to me. My baby's none.
Do I look good tonight?
Oh, you look great. You're fine as wine. Yeah, but gosh, I could sit here and play all day.
I really think, Aaron, that was really sweet. I really enjoyed that so much. So what I need now is that we're going to go back and talk some more, and I want to talk about from over your career, what have you learned in the music business that you would want to share with others who are interested in?
Oh, yes. Are we going to talk about that now?
Yeah, baby.
Okay. What I've learned is this, that I would love to share with old musicians, young musicians, people that are not even musicians. You know, if you got a gift to play music, see, music is a universal language. Music is the key to love. Music is the fruit of all life. You got to realize that God loves music. I mean, you know, I could go to Australia and play, and they'll love it. Music will calm the savage beast. I once had a mean dog, and I would grab my bass and start playing, and he would just be so humble and so nice. So my lesson to give is, you know, learn to be humble, learn to respect one another like I respect my instrument. You know, if I treat it right, it'll treat me right. If you listen to my music, or my song, or any other musician's songs, you know, to make you feel good. Music is meant to make us feel good. It's to worship on. Whether it be rock, soul, funk, not the devil stuff. There are some bad things with music, I must say that. But the good stuff that feeds the soul and the spirit. So those things I would like to share. And if you're a young musician, realize one thing, it's going to take patience, it's going to take practice, patience, and you got to believe in yourself when no one else believes in you. If you want to do what I've been trying to do or doing all my life, you know, I chose to do music. I didn't choose to do a 9 to 5. You know, this is my 24-hour job. So I breathe it, I live it, I eat it, I love it, I share it. And for all the rappers, I think rap music is great, but I think we kind of went to the left when we started calling out beautiful black women bitches, stuff like that. That's crazy. My mama wouldn't, oh man, you can't call a queen like that. All black women, all women, period. You gotta respect, you know, the ladies, and the brothers gotta learn to love one another, you know. That's why I love Frankie Beverly, because we are one. You know, I'm for real about that. You know, you have to, in order to receive, you got to give. And you have to give something positive to receive good things to happen to us as a people. So we take music, and it's a tool, it's a way of communication. It's not a way of destruction. You don't want to use it in a negative way, because God loves music. And when you mess with God, you're messing with yourself. You're going to die young, or you're going to hurt somebody. Then you be saying, well, I could have been this, I could have did this with all my talent. So use your talent wisely.
What about the business side of it?
Business, oh man, now that's another, that's the thing that you got to know the business. Because, you know, you got a lot of cutthroats out here. People will take you and chew you up. They'll tell you anything to get you to play or get you to sing. So you got to stand your ground. That's when you stand your ground. You know, that's what standing your ground means. No, I'm not nobody's doormat. No, I'm not going to be your fool. Now, take on consideration. You have to start somewhere. So you might have to take the short end of the stick for a certain length of time, but that doesn't mean forever. You know, you got to pay some dues. You're going to have to pay some dues somewhere. So, you know, you got to know to be around the right people. You know, you're not going to start out making a lot of money, you know, and if you do, God, you're lucky, you know, but you got to know about publishing, writing, you know, writer's royalties. You got to know, you know, about how to get you a lawyer to help you negotiate your contracts. I mean, I've made mistakes in my career by not doing certain things. But you know what? I knew better. I was just in a rush. So, you know, when things come to you, like I tell my son, Brandon Mills, who's a vocalist, incidentally, I got to give my son a plug. I'm coming back to the conversation. My son, Brandon Marcel Mills, sings background with Leon Bridges. Bless him, he's going to make it. But as I told him, son, you got to start somewhere, and you got to, you know, you get you a lawyer to help you negotiate your deals, agreements, and be wise. Don't be a fool. Don't take wooden nickels. People will blow smoke up you all day. So, you know, you got to use the brain. That's all I can say.
Now, while you're giving shout outs, Aaron, I know you have some engineers in there that in your studio. This is your studio that you're in that we're doing this from. So you want to give a shout out to your engineers in there? Let him come in. Let me take a look at him.
He's gone. He has a client in the back.
Oh, what's his name?
His name is Chaka Harley. The name of this facility here in Durham, North Carolina is Playground Studios. Now, within this building, you have the recording studio, Pro Tools. Then they got a sound stage out here. We teach lessons here, piano lessons. You know, you can bring your band in here and rehearse, rent time and rehearse your group. So it's a very equipped facility. It's in Durham, North Carolina, Playground Studios.
Playground Studios.
Yeah, right.
Got it. Now tell me, how did you hear about the Funk Music Hall of Fame?
Well,
what was your introduction to this?
My introduction to this, I think it was through Lester Troutman. Lester Zapp, one of those guys, were telling me about the Funk Hall of Fame. And we all know that plenty of musicians, great musicians, funk players have come out of Dayton, Ohio. Lord have mercy. Sugarfoot and everybody else. It was funky. Junior Morrison, Ohio players, Zapp, those guys, they you know, when you're on the road, you meet guys and you talk, and you find out what's happening in their cities as well as any other place. And so the Funk Hall of Fame is like the bum, because you got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, should be the Funk Hall of Fame too. Just my opinion.
Well,
you know.
we like your opinion. Do you recall meeting David Webb in Cincinnati?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. He had to like shake my brain a minute, but I do recall meeting him, and it was a pleasure. And I like to say to all of you all, thank you for having me. I mean, it's an honor. It's an honor to be put in the same category as some of your Funk Hall of Fame players. I just want to thank you humbly from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, David, and thank you, Miss Rhine.
No, but so, I'm a humble servant here also. Tell me, would you be willing to donate? Don't want to put you on the spot, Aaron, but would you like to donate something to our Funk Music Hall of Fame?
Oh, of course. I'm trying to think what I could share with you guys. It won't be Ruth. It won't be Elvin. That's my father's name. That's my other bass. And it won't be Minerva, my upright bass. So I'll find something. I'll get back to you on it. I can't say when.
Oh, okay, and maybe something with the Cameo. You know, that would be very great.
Oh yes, yes.
You know, one of the things I wanted to say was that when reading your bio, that even with all of this and all the blessings that you've had to be able to play around the world and all your experiences, that when you are home, you take the time to play at your church. Is that right?
Oh yes, yes, yes I do.
And I also, I mean, to be commended. And the other thing is that you have released a single called Independent, and the best is yet to come.
That's right. That's right. Independent is a single I released, and I'm going to release the entire CD. I'm about 3 weeks away from completing it. And then I'm gonna drop the whole CD out, and you'll be able to purchase it online and at your all the music outlets. You will definitely, such as Amazon, iTunes, etc. You definitely will be able to purchase it. I got some great songs. I got some great contributions from other artists: Kevin Toney, Tommy Jenkins, Reggie Jeffries. Stanley Beard, who's a jazz player, one of my mentors. I got, you know, I believe in doing records like we used to do them in the old days. Like, you know, I'm not a Prince kind of guy where I'm going to play everything. This is not all about me. It's about sharing my vision with other guys, musicians, and having them to come in and play. And that's what makes it work. That's what makes it a masterpiece. So my record will have that in it. Other musicians, you know, I'm gonna feature guys as well as myself. Guys that I know, guys, my friends. You know, I believe in sharing music. And they have me to play on their records, so why not have them to play on mine? So it's a good thing.
I like the idea that you talk about the exchange of musicians, and musicians seem to have a camaraderie that maybe a lot of other professions do not have on the level that you do, because it's so broad and vast on interchanging your talents. What do you think about that?
Well, you know,
I mean, there's always going to be the ego people there. I mean, that's no matter what you do.
No matter what you're going to do, you're going to have some guys with an ego. But you know what? Those kind of guys, you're all right with me, but I like people that's musicians. Just because you made it doesn't make you any better than anybody else. You've just been blessed. That's all. And you know, you got to be humble, and that's what music's all about. It's not about how many notes I can play and that nobody can play funk like me. Everybody's great. Everybody's great. So, you know, when you share if you're baking a cake and you want the cake to, you know, to have a little something else to it besides what all I can do, well, let me call up my friend Kevin Tony. Let me call up my friend Jeffries, Reggie Jeffries, Aaron Turner, drummer. You know, it's about sharing and caring and loving each other. That's what music is all about. You know, it's about different personalities. And when somebody can see your vision and what you're trying to relay and put their own twist to it, and that just makes it better to me. You know, it really does. So I believe in, not that I couldn't write a whole song by myself and try to play everything, but, you know, if you know Herbie Hancock, why not call Herbie, honey? You know what I'm saying? You get it.
You know, Aaron, we're wrapping up, and I've really enjoyed so much this interview, learning so much about you. And what are your closing comments?
My closing comments is simple. It's very simple. To thyself, be true.
Thank you, Aaron Mills. And before I leave, can I hear a little bit of Independent? Just to get, just the web.
I just give you the basic, man.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. This is Rhine McLin for the Funk Music Hall of Fame and Exhibition Center's Funk Chronicles. Until the next time, keep it funky.
Yes, and keep it hot.